What's up, everybody? My name is Patrick Onochi. I'm your cannabis engineer, your informational weed man, and this is engineering cannabis. And today's topic, we'll be discussing what currently is happening in California with 400 suspended cannabis licenses in California. So it's gonna be we'll delve into what happened, what problems occurred, and also solutions. We always have to present solutions. So so let's delve into it. In the past week, there have been a lot of news, and especially in the cannabis space. We have the USDA bringing out legislations and laws regarding for the hemp farming, and there's some real laws in there that is going to affect a lot of hemp producers, especially with THC, the consideration of total THC or rather than Delta 9 THC, and the concentration. So there's a lot of problems that is going to occur, especially with the hemp farming, with the new USDA laws, but. And also, we've seen with the vaping incidents, I think they've narrowed it down to the problems associated with it, and it wasn't the THC. And these are just a few news, but the biggest news I believe was the crackdown for 400 licenses in California. 400 licenses cracked down in California. They were suspended for not following requirements, regulations. So this is a huge incident. So in California, with 400 licenses suspended, they accounted for basically being 5% of the total revenue of cannabis sales in the state. That basically, that 5% of generated revenue for that state has basically been suspended. And what I'm seeing here, these are the breakdown of basically how the licenses, the individuals or the certain industry spaces that were basically suspended. So 63 retailers, so those selling basically cannabis products or cannabis related products or cannabis fused products were basically 63 retailers that suspended. 61 delivery services suspended. So 61 delivery services suspended, 47 micro businesses, 185 distributors were suspended too, and 29 distributors that only transport only. So these are the breakdown of the 400 licenses that were basically suspended in California. So with that, why was it suspended? And the requirements, they weren't following requirements, and one of the big requirements they were following was a track and trace. They weren't inputting data or inputting the amount of marijuana or cannabis in their facility on the track and trace system. And not only that, I think there were some minor infractions too that were occurring that also contributed to the suspension. So with that, 400 licenses were suspended. Now the question is, how did the suspension occur, and how can it be resolved? What they have to resolve is basically they have to start following the track and trace system, start following minor infractions. But with the track and trace system, it's not easy. Basically, in order to do that, you have to devote resources in there. So that's why I'm a proponent of tech. Tech will help in solving some of these problems because I've looked into it. I've seen what it costs for the track and trace system. I also looked into also what kind of resources, especially manpower, because you have to devote manpower to basically not only record the amount of cannabis in your claim, but also at the same time input that into the database state database system for the track and trace. So these are very, very, very time consuming and very, very energy consuming and human resource consuming tasks. And all these all the infractions, but the biggest infraction was the track and trace system. So now the goal is how does one resolve these problems? As I said, through tech. I proposed in one of the videos using machine learning as a way to basically look at requirements, and also I will explain on also not only machine learning but also automation. So let's go with the machine learning aspect. There are a lot of, in each state, especially if you're a business who basically traverses each state and opens brands in each state. The laws in California is different from the laws in, let's say, Colorado. And the track and trace systems are different. It's not a national track and trace system. These are just designated for the states. So the question is, if I'm a business owner who owns numerous stores in different states, how can I keep up with these regulations and requirements? So I came up with utilizing not only machine learning aspects, especially with the requirements, but also with automation too. So let's go with machine learning. Currently, with 400 suspended licenses, so you have 400 data points to associate with. 400 data points associated with in terms of knowing those infractions, and maybe other 400 licenses, each of those licenses, maybe the infractions might be 20 or 10. So each of the infractions might be 20. Let's go with 20. So with 400 suspended licenses, and maybe each person has 20 infractions, and maybe 20 times 400, 8,000. So with 8,000 data points, you can make a predictive analysis with machine learning. Predictive analysis on, from now on, what rules and what regulations are basically important for the state, and also make some assumptions on variables like human interaction, human safety, and all that stuff, and put those variables in there. And at that point, you can make a predictive analysis on especially what specific regulations you need to follow not to basically shut down. And what does that do? That basically gives you opportunity to not spread your resources thin, but focus your resources on certain requirements. Not all the requirements, but certain requirements that doesn't make you shut down. And also at the same time, focus those resources on automating that system. If you can sit down and automate how your tracking system, track and trace, is basically, if you can automate, hey, if I basically electronically tag every cannabis product in my storage system, or in where I reside, or where I do business, if I can catalog it, electronically catalog it, and immediately it also enters the track and trace system, automated, that basically saves more time and resources. And also, one of the big things is there is also the machine learning. Now that you've gotten enough data to know where you can predictively show that if you follow these regulations, if you put resources in this regulation and not spread it thin, you will not get shut down. And when I looked at it, and I said, okay, why not you can use frequency, like the amount of frequency, the amount of time these regs are basically looked at. Yes, you can do frequency, but what happens if new requirements come in? How do you judge those requirements as basically a good requirements to follow, or is it going to be a bad requirement, or is it going to be Is it going to be a top priority or is it going to be a low priority? How do you judge that? Since you don't have a lot of data points on the new requirements. That's why I say machine learning. If you can predictively show and predictively know those requirements based on certain variables, you can then use those as when new requirements come, and then prioritize those new requirements as high level, or top level, or low level. The goal is to utilize your resources. If that's what the problem is, if you can pinpoint your resources, your human, your financial, and all those resources, and pinpoint certain requirements that adversely affect human health and also adversely affect your business, and you can show that and you prove that these requirements using machine learning, that hey, if you follow these requirements, there's a 90-98% chance you will not be shut down. If you follow like 70% of these are the requirements, and these 70% of these will assure that your business doesn't shut down, and you can then take your resources and pinpoint on those 70% rather than spreading it thin, basically, and also then at the same time automate it as the key again. Focus, use machine learning to basically use a predictive algorithm to basically generate a high priority of requirements that basically assure you that your business doesn't shut down. Then if you do that, at the same time focus on automation. At the same time, again, focus on automation. It makes it easier to basically stay in business, especially with the requirements. The requirements are the big proponent of shutting your business down, especially in the cannabis space. And when it becomes federally legalized, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be more regulated. And with that, but with a good system, a good process, a good machine learning algorithm that predicts, hey, so with certain variables, I said human safety, quality, certain variables in there that can assure you that, hey, if you follow this 70%, if you focus your resources on this 70%, you will not be shut down. At the same time, looking into automation, I bet you you will basically, I don't guarantee, but I assure you will see progress in your business and cannabis business. That's why I'm a proponent of, when you start a cannabis business, start it with a tech emphasis in mind. If you do that, you will succeed. So again, with 400 suspended cannabis licenses, these are the kind of solutions we should be looking into. Using machine learning, narrow your resources, then automate. So these are the ways you can succeed, especially in the cannabis space. So again, this is Engineering Cannabis. I'm your informational weed man. I'm a cannabis engineer, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, peace.